Welcome back, everybody, to the CONEXPO-CON podcast. I am your host, Taylor White, as always. Tonight, I am coming to you live. I'm not live. I'm not live right now. I'm coming to you guys from Louisville, Kentucky, and I have here the bourbon to prove it. I am at the Utility Expo tonight, which is super cool. Tomorrow will be our first morning attending. We got in late today, so just kind of taking it easy. But I wanted to remind everybody that CONEXPO is March 3rd to the 7th, and it is coming up in beautiful Las Vegas. So please hurry up. I can't tell you guys enough. Use the code podcast30 to get 30% off your tickets right now. And hurry up because that code is only good until December 5th. And then you can't use it anymore. And then guess what? Then you're paying full pop. So please, podcast30, use the code, get your tickets now. Over 2,000 exhibitors. 3 million square feet of space. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be there. I can't wait. Join us. Shout out to the sponsor, John Deere Power Systems, for taking care of us on the podcast and sponsoring this amazing podcast every now and then. You guys are fortunate that you get to sit here alone with me tonight, because tonight I want to talk about the game-winning mindset of success. And I was thinking about tonight when I'm like, okay, I'm going to do another solo podcast. I'm going to be in Louisville. I'm going to be having this opportunity to meet new people, to go to a new place, new adventures, do new things. And it kind of got me thinking about the mindset, because I had a friend that I was mentioning this to, and he was saying, no, he's like, I wouldn't go. I don't need to go. I don't see the value in going. And to me, I just feel like when you have an opportunity in front of you, I don't feel like that's the game-winning mindset of success. I feel like you need to say yes. A lot of the times, I feel like people tell you to say no and don't go do this, or don't what's the word I'm looking for? When you over promise somebody something, right? And then you let it down. It's not the way to go about things. And here's where I come from with that is my whole life from when I first took over the family business like 6 or 7 years ago. And I remember I was just saying yes to everything. And I remember I still say yes to everything now. And I remember a specific time when we got asked to take on this commercial job, and it was crazy how much it was outside of our realm of what we normally would do or what we could handle. And yeah, I remember when our estimator at the time was pricing it, and he's like, dude, we don't know how to do any of this stuff. Like, we don't even have guys out there that know what they're doing. Nobody in the office can manage it. I remember being like, look, like, if we get the job, I'll make sure that we can get it done. And we bid the job, we hit send, and I remember freaking out, being like, okay, that was the largest bid that we ever sent out. And it was like 2 weeks later, I got a text being like, oh no, it was a Friday night. Big jobs, by the way, always seem to come to you on Fridays. I don't know why. It was Friday night, and I remember getting a text being like, hey, we heard back. And I respond back. I'm like, okay, great. What? We got the job. Holy shit. Okay. That's crazy. Those were my expressions at the time. Okay, that's crazy. And then immediately my brain went to, how are we going to execute this and make money, or at least come out of this project at zero after we've paid for everything and we're still going? Because I knew that even if we came out of this project at zero, that we would still gain the opportunity to show people that we can handle a job of this scope. And that's what we did. So the first thing that we did was, hey, we said yes to the opportunity. We said, hey, we can do all this. Next was, okay, we need to find some people that can help us get this thing. And I remember searching. It's so hard to find people. I mean, and that's a whole topic on its own. But I mean, look, finding talent right now is really hard, especially A-type personalities, because A-type people are either doing their own thing already and don't need you, or they don't need you because they're already working somewhere else and they're getting paid enough and they're happy. So when you do have an opportunity to hire an A-type person, definitely do that. Definitely pay them enough so that they don't ever want to leave, because you can make a lot of money with an A-type person. So we hired some people. We hired some good people. We executed the job, and it was tough, man. We took on more than we could chew. And I remember we were over on hours. We were under on some materials. But overall, the job ended out, being pretty much sub even. But what it did was it showed people that we could take on more, and it showed ourselves in the office that we could also take on more as a business, not just, to future clients or anything like that. And the fact that there was the willingness to say yes is probably key in the situation. And I would say that saying yes is key to taking on more and finding success in life and doing things that push you outside of your comfort zone and doing things that make you maybe cringe and go, oh, I don't know if we can do that. Or, oh, I don't know if I want to go and do that. Like coming here to the Utility Expo. I wanted to come here. I'm very excited to go here. But let's put it, in a different perspective, right? Let's say you're sitting at home right now and someone goes, hey, I got 2 free tickets and we're going to go to Georgia. Great. What's in Georgia? I don't know. Let's pick something. Some business venture. Okay. Business conference in the industry that you work in. I don't want to go. Well, by saying yes to going to that, you could possibly meet somebody that could change the trajectory of your life. And that sounds crazy saying that, but that is honestly true. And I honestly think that too, especially like when I go to these places or I meet new people, you never know who you're talking to. And I remember sitting down beside a bar at this last thing that I went to, and I was talking to this guy, and he was the head of some massive company. And I'm like, I would have never gotten to talk to you if I wasn't here and if I was just sitting at home doing my own thing. So I think what we lack in today's world is a willingness to say yes to stuff. And I think that we normalize the feeling of saying no. And I don't think that it's wrong to say that. I just feel like more people are saying no these days, and I don't know why. And we need to push people to make themselves feel uncomfortable, to do things that make you feel like you shouldn't be doing them in business. And it's a good place to be. Put pressure on yourself. Putting pressure on yourself is important. I have a friend, he has a son, and he's like, hey, like, I really want to push to do more, and I don't know what to do now. And to me, it's really interesting because it's like really tough scenario to be in when you have somebody sitting in front of you that you love, and you want to push them and motivate them to do more, but you really just can't, and it's really hard. And this week specifically in business, one thing that during this week I was like, I really want to talk about this on the podcast this week, was relying on other people and the mindset of slowness. Slowness in the industry, relying on other people, waiting on other trades to give you answers. Right now, that is my life with PriTech. Right now, I am constantly sending follow-up emails to people saying, hey, where's this report? We need it for a submission. Hey, where's this site servicing package? We need that for next submission. Hey, can we have your comments to send back to the city for the submission? Hey, this contractor is tendering out our project and he needs you, engineer, to state or to approve shop drawings. Waiting on them. I don't have the answer for it, so I'm not going to try to pretend like I do, but man, it is so difficult, especially in the general contracting world, building a team around people. Like, I really strive, and I think the biggest success from the general contracting business that we found is building a team around people that you can text personally, like the CEO or the president or somebody at least very high up, the ownership level, being like, hey, your team really needs to start crushing it right now because I'm really hurting right now, or I'm waiting for a response and I haven't gotten anything back. And that for us is, for me personally, actually has been huge. But there's still a few trades, and it just mind boggles me. And I don't know what the fix is. And again, looping it back to what I was just talking about, I think people just don't have like that mindset of like, okay, yeah, like I can do that. But then I feel like there's a couple of people that I'm working with right now that have that mindset of saying yes, but they say yes too often. Now they can't perform or they can't follow through on their obligations. I really struggle with that because I'm having a really hard time pushing people. And, I'd love to know your guys' feedback as well, too, of just, figuring out how to push people. push people. What I have found as the best success for pushing people is, like I was saying, like reach out to the owners and sending a text or follow up, and just kind of like being able to have that personality of being a little bit stern. That takes a skill. Being an asshole without being an asshole, it's a really hard thing to try to perfect. Most of the time, I'm just an asshole. It honestly is probably one of the best things that you could try to perform as someone who's in an ownership or management role, because what you're essentially doing is being able to push somebody and give them a hint of like, well, maybe your bill won't get paid this month if you do this, or you have to have something on somebody, not in a bad way, but in a good way of being like, look, like, you were 4 or 5 points ahead of the next guy in pricing, but we still went with you. Please follow through on this next thing, and we need this by next Friday. But I'd be curious to see what everybody else thinks, because that is one thing that I've been dealing with lately that I do not have the fix for, is dealing with people. Waiting on other people is just my life right now. And I'd say ours, because like the team that we've built out with Pride Tech, it's brutal. It is insane, man. But things are going really well there at Pride Tech as well. It's just like a life update now. We posted for the first time on YouTube, and I was talking about this, but it's just crazy how life, shifts. And I'm sure listeners right now are listening to is, you started this and maybe you ventured off into a different business, and this one's self-sufficient, and now you're waiting for this one to go, or, you're focused on this one. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I'm really focused on Pride Tech and getting these projects off the ground. And I'm like so close on two of the major projects. Another one will be spring next year. And then I just got an email today confirming another one that will be starting as well. But there's just so much going on, but I want to see, like, get these, get a few of them through the idea stage to shoveling ground to here's your key to the client, so that I understand the process 100%, so that I can pass that knowledge down onto somebody else. Because that's what I did wrong with Kenway Construction, was it was nobody else's fault but mine, 100% mine. Was I was like, okay, great. People are managing and running Ken White, the guys, the finances, the invoicing, the quotes, and I can just focus on, look ahead and what's coming ahead. And it just did not work out that way, because I didn't fully understand what they were doing, and they had no idea what they were doing. It's my fault, not theirs. I just threw them in this position of being like, hey, we all now manage a company that does X amount of dollars, and we're all underqualified to do so. Mind you, Dad was a part of this process as well too, but everything over the past 6 years kind of just went oof, like excelled super, super fast. Anyways, and then through management changes, we then perfected it, obviously, to get to where we are now. But I take that lesson of, I let my business get away from me when I needed to bring it back in. And that's how I am with Pride Tech. And that's how I'm starting things off with it, was I need to understand the business. Most importantly, I need to understand how the business makes money before I can delegate and hand it off. And that has been the most valuable lesson that I've learned. And I learned the hard way, right? We went through going through years of net loss, and, you run into cash flow issues, maybe you need to sell off some stuff to get a little bit of cash. We were fortunate enough to where there was just enough work going on that we could sustainably float ourselves. It obviously got really tight and crappy for a little bit, but that's just part of life and business, especially construction cash flow issues. But with Pride Tech, I wanted to make sure that I got off on the right foot and really understanding what I'm doing before I hand it off to somebody else. Not that I want to hand it off to somebody else, I don't think, but what I really want to do is delegate what I'm doing, which I guess is project management. I guess. I mean, I have a CFO that looks after finances. The only thing that would be left with a construction management business is project managing the project at the highest level possible, which is what I'm doing. Maybe there's a different word for that role, but that's what I'm doing. I would like to find somebody to do that role. The problem is you need somebody that has their foot on the gas constantly. We're taking site plan applications where a normal GC or CM business might say, oh, we're 2 years away from site plan approval. I'm getting site plan approval in a year or less right now on standard site plan applications. I don't need a GC listening to this and Ottawa be like, okay, yeah, well, I'm blowing up a building and putting a 70-story skyscraper. Okay, that's complex for sure. I'm talking a regular standard site plan application shouldn't take more than a year if you have all the engineers in place and nothing crazy pops up, environmental stuff. But you need to keep your foot on the gas. And that's the biggest thing. Finding somebody that also wants to put their foot on the gas. And it's hard to find people that want to do that. Again, going back to our first conversation, finding people that will say yes to new opportunity and finding people that want to have that mindset to drive and push. And it's 6 o'clock. I'll answer that email in the morning. No, you know how many times answering an email late at night actually sped up the process? Because I have found that dealing with city, municipal, federal, whatever people in those roles, you send an email like either really late or like super early in the morning, you're generally the first email on their list when they get in the office at 8 or 9 a.m. So I kind of found this sweet spot of when to email people so that I would land on like the first top of their list and they would respond and email to me first. But you need to have that push forward. You also, another thing with construction management or general contracting is to build that trust with your client. We were talking about that just at dinner tonight with my dad, and we obviously wouldn't be anywhere without our clients. Clients are what make you money. Our clients feel like they get value from us and we feel like we get value from them. Obviously, value has to go both ways in a relationship like this to make it work. And for us, trust is probably the underlying word to describe everything. They have to feel like you're being transparent and honest. And that's why I like construction management as a business, because it's here's somebody's bill and here's our percentage on top of it. And here's some, if I had any time supervising it, it's a good business model in the sense of building trust with somebody. GC, I feel like in the general contracting world, now I haven't done enough. I've done a couple projects so far. General contracting is one person or the other generally feels like they're being screwed. And I could be totally wrong with that. But as a contractor, if the job's not going well, and you see your margins going down and down and down, you're like, dang, like I'm getting screwed. Or as a client, if the GC was telling you, oh, it's going to be a 9-month build, they do it in 6. You're like, well, shit, like how much money could I have saved because you priced to do it in 9, but you just did it in 6. Where with construction management, you kind of start and through the whole process, it's here's your bill and we put our percentage on top of it. Whatever percentage that is, there's no going rate, there's no this or that's, what's best for you and your business and the client. And it varies. But I feel like it's just the most transparent, honest way to build. And behind me, I was noticing that there is so much construction going on here actually in Louisville. And it's interesting to see like these different pockets of the economy that are kind of like booming and expanding. I mean, Ottawa's really busy. There's a lot of stuff going on where we are, but I'd be curious to see about you guys and where everything, how busy it is where you guys are, because it's an interesting year I find, but I feel like there's a lot of opportunity out there in the world right now. And we were just talking about that with Jimmy Starbuck on the last podcast, and he was talking about how much opportunity there is out there and all the different things that, are going on, even in Australia. And it was really interesting hearing how it relates from Australia to Canada and the different relationship in their economies, even though we're so far apart, and even in the policies there actually as well, too. That was pretty interesting. We had some of the same policies, actually, like even newer ones as well, too, which is pretty interesting. I'm actually just looking at pictures of horses right now, and I forgot that Kentucky is known for the Kentucky Derby, Churchill Downs, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm curious to know if anybody's been to the Utility Expo. Has anybody been to the Utility Expo that listens to this? This is my first time. I am super excited to go there tomorrow. The weather's looking great. At first it wasn't, but now it's looking way better. I got some new fresh gear to rock to it. We're doing a bourbon tour in the afternoon, me and Dad. we're both big bourbon lovers. So we're going to go check out Angel's Envy tomorrow afternoon at 2:00, just for a quick hour, and then back to the show. But we're going to be at the show all day tomorrow. And it was actually a really good flight here too. So I would advise people that if you want to come to a really cool show, check out the Utility Expo. Again, saying yes to opportunities, saying yes to going CONEXPO. Again, podcast 30, guys. Please use the code podcast 30 for your tickets. I say please because for your sake, save 30% and let the people know I was listening to the podcast and I know that I can save 30%. So use the code podcast 30. I was talking to a buddy. We're bringing down 10, 11 people with us this year. No, 12. We're having an even number. 12 people. We're bringing down 12 people this year to the show for the whole time, the March 3rd to the 7th. And I'm really excited. And I really want to start feeling that hype about CONEXPO. So if you're listening, I want people to reach out to us on Instagram and be like, hey, I heard the podcast. I'm going. It's going to be awesome. I want to know what booths you're most excited to see, what vendors you're most excited to see, or influencers that are going. I know there's a lot of really cool people going. I just sat on a panel with some really cool people that are all going as well too. People that have been on the podcast. It's all on their website as well too if you wanted to see some people. But yeah, I feel like this is like going to be one of the best shows, if not the best one coming up. And I don't know. It's just something about Vegas, something about that time of year, March. Everybody has time with work to get away in March generally because like a lot of the other, winter times kind of slower. So you have like that free time to go and talk. And I promise you that the value you get from it will be invaluable will be super valuable. I don't know if invaluable is the right word to use, but it's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited to share that with everybody. And I want to make sure that everybody knows how excited we are at Chem Construction for the show and all the people that are going down. I'm going to be doing a live podcast. I'm going to be on a panel as well. I'll have all those times on the next podcast to list to you guys, but I am going to be doing stuff. I'm there for a long time. Me and Jake, my filmer, he's going to be there. We're going to be filming. I'm filming this thing actually too. Make sure to check out Utility Expo on YouTube. It's probably up by now, but I'm going to be filming down in Vegas. We're going to make a whole video about it. I'm hoping to get in a chopper and ride over the strip at night. Yeah, that was sweet. We had a good time doing that. And yeah, super pumped. So I just want to make sure everybody go get your tickets, please. And I am here in Louisville and I got my bourbon and we got water. And I'm probably going to go to bed now and get ready for the show tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, John Deere Power Systems, for sponsoring the video. We will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.